and welcome to Make Me a Pro on YouTube. I'm so excited to be sharing with you today this episode, which has been a long time coming and has been something that I've been dealing with for a while. Okay, so to give you a basic summary, when I got here in September 2015, I started working in a new industry. I was working in PR and communications, and it was what I thought I wanted to do. Once I got in, I realized very quickly it was not what I was supposed to be doing. And I didn't really know how to kind of express this to my friends, to my family, and to people who are in my extended network, because there was all this kind of hype of, I'm going to America, I'm going to start this new journey, etc. But I didn't really know how to say, actually, I'm really struggling, or actually, this isn't what I thought it'd be. So I ended up leaving that place and spending 2 months in New York actually trying to find a job. So what this episode is about is really what my strategies were for coping and what my strategies were for kind of finding a job and what happened next. So it's kind of to give you an overview that, coming to America isn't necessarily always roses and daisies. It can be really tough. It can be unexpected. But the main thing about kind of defining your career, which I feel like I'm still doing. The main thing about defining your career is finding something that you're passionate about, finding something that makes you happy. There's no point in kind of dragging things out or being unhappy in some place just because it's okay for now. One of my kind of mentors said to me, I think at some point last year, that you spend most of your time at work, you spend most of your time with the people that you work with, etc. So you need to love it. You need those hours that you are not in your bed to count. And you need to surround yourself with people that motivate you. You need to surround yourself in an environment that motivates you. You need to get up and be like, okay, I'm doing this, not, So that's really what I kind of discovered, and that was my journey. Okay, so the first thing I did as soon as I kind of was out is I hit the phones. Now, I knew that I had a ticking time bomb in terms of, you're here on a visa and you have to make it count. So I hit the phones, called up all my kind of people in my network, my mentors, people I consider my sponsors, and, friends and people I met along the way. And was like, had to take that pride pill and be like, what, I came here, it didn't really work out, I'm looking for other opportunities. Can we grab a coffee? Can we have a conversation? Do you know anyone in New York that might be able to help me, etc., etc. Now, the thing with tapping into your network is you need to obviously be very strategic, but also be very open and consistent with your communication. Now, people that know me know that I love being on the phone and talking, so it comes naturally to me, that side of me. But when someone has extended an olive branch and said, okay, I'll meet with you to discuss X, or I'll introduce you to this person by email, can you follow up? You have to do that. You can't be like, oh, that's not, you have to take that and be like, thank you very much. Do your bit. Take that opportunity and run with that kind of door, because you never know what's behind it. So I hit the phones and I was like, this is really what's happened. And I spent a couple of long weeks with people really kind of strategizing what to do, what's out there, having a couple of people review my CV, having feedback on how I was presenting myself, etc. Because as much as, I speak about work and stuff like that, I myself am a work in progress as well. I don't have all the answers. So that's the first thing I did, is I hit the phones and I started speaking to people about my problem, or my kind of gap, and how to kind of address it. So I had a very good response, and people being like, oh, I know this person in this department, or I'll make some calls for you. And you want to push, but not too much, because you have to remember that people are essentially doing you a favor. And yes, they want to see consistency and they want to see follow-up, but you also don't want to, you're not the center of someone's world. So you have to remember that to balance the two. And I think for me, I'm a very tough lover for myself. So I was kind of like, okay, after a day or two, you can't be really sad about this. You can't sit in your bed and do nothing. So I really had to get my bum into gear and really make sure that I'd done something and spoke to the people that I needed to speak to and followed up to make sure that the ball started rolling. It didn't happen overnight, but the ball did start rolling eventually. The second thing I did was I hit the application track. So one of my best resources, I would say, is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a fantastic place to find opportunities, find what companies are hiring, how many jobs they have. I kind of had a set list of like the types of institutions that I wanted to work for. So I kind of just went on their LinkedIn page, saw what job openings that they had, and kind of put my CV. Once I had made a call to the HR head or to whoever's responsible for recruiting for that role, because there's nothing worse than sending a blanket application, because they get tons. Applying for jobs is a very arduous process. You do your CV up, you send the application, you wait to hear for a response. Sometimes you don't hear anything for 2 months in my case. But you need to make sure that it's targeted and it's going to the right place and it's being seen by the right person and they know who you are. So I hit the application track and went on LinkedIn. Another useful resource is Glassdoor. This is available both in the UK and the US, but I think people use it in the US much more. Glassdoor allows you to see what people have reviewed a company, so what they say about the application process, what they say about the work environment, the CEO, the compensation for certain roles, etc. So you're armed with all the facts as part of your kind of job research. So I hit LinkedIn multiple times to kind of do job applications. Another place which is great for someone in more kind of creative industries, because I was applying for roles within marketing and communications, the Muse is a fantastic resource because it has, not only motivational kind of, how to kick these habits or like how to make the most out of your career. They have articles and stuff, but they also have job postings for really cool companies like Dropbox and Bloomberg and lots of different places. So the Muse is a fantastic resource and it gives you an overview of the company as well, what the different people who work for the company look like. So those were my two main go-tos, aside from Googling companies as well, and just seeing if I could call up someone and be like, I'm interested in working here, do you have any roles? The third thing I did was go to events. Now, I speak a lot on networking, and particularly with my friends and people around me. Networking is this thing that often people put in this box that I have to do for my job, for my career, whatever it is. I don't really like it. It's uncomfortable. But when the time comes where you actually need to market yourself and pitch yourself and be like, I have business cards, I have blah, like I'm ready. You kind of had to go into beast mode, and that's what I felt like I did. So I'm mixed between kind of going to what I consider like happy hours and young professional events, and also some of the more industry-wide events where I could potentially find the chief marketing officer of X company or like the head of branding for X company, just so that I had a wider spread, or even the CEO of X company. So I can have a wider spread, get to know more people, particularly as I'm in a new city anyway. No one really knows me. No one can co-sign and be like, oh yeah, I know Charity. No. So I had to do that and make sure that my presence was out there. And the key to networking events for me in that mode, in that phase, have your phone ready. So you're taking notes throughout and you can pinpoint to a speaker, oh, when you said blah, like I listened to, I thought that was really interesting because X, Y, Z. Or you're taking notes so you have other stuff to say apart from, isn't it really cold? Or like, oh, the 6 train wasn't running very well today. So you've got more to say. You've actually got the meat on the bones, and it shows that you're engaged. It shows that also that you are paying attention. But I do understand that some speakers say taking notes during on your phone during a speech or whatever is really distracting. So you just have to balance that as well when you're doing that. Having your phone ready is also useful for LinkedIn. when you go to events and you meet people, or particularly if you don't have business cards, it's always great to just send a note while you're with the person. Oh, hey, it's blah, like I'm Charity, I was wearing blah, or like, you know, we discussed blah, like looking forward to connect with you, etc., etc. LinkedIn allows you to do that, and they have your face, they have your name, and you have their details essentially, if they run out of cards as well. Business cards are not an old-fashioned thing. That's another thing. In my interview with Suzanne Rowan, she said, you know, she likes being able to see cards. I love collecting people's cards because then it reminds me of who they are. Plus also, if you have something that's really cool, whether it has your face on or it has your logo, or even if it just has your name and your email address and your number, people want to be able to take something away and remember you. So when you do go to networking events, or when you go to meetups or whatever it is, make sure you're armed with the essentials, as I call them, and make sure you have something to say. Make sure you are well read. And those are the kind of different elements I had in my kind of pitch of myself. And I met some really cool and interesting people as well. The final thing that I would say is just to make sure that you're persistent. So for me, there was days where I was just like, this is horrible. People were kind of doubting me in terms of like, do you want to stay in the US? Like, you know, you can go back to London, you can find a job and it can all be fine. But I was not prepared to let my dream go. Anyone who knows me knows I've been talking about America since like I was yay high. So I was not ready to kind of walk away and put all the hard work that I'd done to waste. And I would say that the job that I did find in the end was a combination of all the different things. I had met someone who advocated for me, and I was able to get coached into like having spoken to some of my mentors. You know, they were like, you need to consider this, you need to consider that. Have you thought about asking this, etc., etc. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made, because I really, really enjoy what I do now. I work with a really, really fantastic team and have a very supportive network, but I'm also very challenged every day. And I don't wake up like, oh, I'm drowning. I wake up thinking, oh, like, you know, we have this project that's on and I'm going to be able to impact this. And I know me personally, I needed an environment that's both entrepreneurial, but also has enough structure around it for me to be able to kind of flourish and give my 150%. So that is a basic overview of my experience here. When I got to New York, it wasn't all roses and daisies. I think I had my initial placement for just over 6 weeks and spent sort of late October to December trying to find a job. If you guys do have any questions, I know I tried to speed through that, but if you guys do have any questions about job hunting in New York, or my experiences, or, you know, what it's like to kind of find out that you really don't suit what you're actually supposed to do, leave a comment in the comment box, email me, or just hit me on Twitter. Until next time, guys.